So you got a new album out.
Yep.
And the album is called Another Lifetime.
Yep.
A deeper sense, or?
What does it mean?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, that's the only question I didn't think about and didn't get an answer planned for. I've no idea. Isn't that funny?
It's just a title, I think.
Well, you know what? It really, where it came from was while we were writing this record. I was over at Ray Russell's in England, and I got an email, and I hate getting emails when there's somebody's name on the top of the email. It's usually not a very good sign. And the top of this email said Tony Williams, and I went, why?
Yeah.
And I opened it up, and you know, was very shocked to read what was in the email. It really hit me quite hard, actually. I think it hit everybody pretty hard. So while we were writing the music for this, in the back of my mind I was thinking, you know, it would be really nice to do something dedicated to Tony. But again, it sort of had to have a reason. The music, you know, the music had to have something to do with Tony, I guess. And I'd written this tune, and Ray Russell had heard it one of the times he was over at my house in LA, and he reminded me of it. And I said, oh yeah, I remember that. And I found the file in my Vision, you know, files, and brought it up. And I said, you like that? He said, yeah, that's great, you know. So we started working on it, and it is pretty much a straight ahead song. That's what it was, and it sort of made sense to do it. I wouldn't have done that on the album normally, because to me stylistically it's not quite right. But with everything else that was on the album, and because of Tony and what he meant to me, I just felt, well, actually let's work on this song, and if it really works out, and it came together very quickly. And I was thinking for a title, and Another Lifetime came to me because Tony used to have a band called Lifetime. It has a lot of meanings. It can sort of mean whatever you really want it to mean, but for me it was just purely the name of that song, because it was just a nice way to think of Tony, really, going to another lifetime or whatever. And then when it came to thinking of a title of the CD, it was a little more difficult. But to be quite honest, it's not a vocal album, doesn't have lyrics, so I'm always very careful with the titles. I find a lot of titles of instrumental music can be really naff, very poor titles, very badly thought out titles. So I try to sort of, without being pretentious, think of just good names for songs. And Another Lifetime seemed to be the sort of most honest, more serious, or more the deeper meaning of all the titles, I suppose. And I asked a few people what they thought of it, and they all said yes, we really like that. I asked Anthony Jackson, who played with Tony for a while. He said, you should call the album that. And I thought about it. I thought, yeah, okay, maybe I should. So
it's a good idea.
Yeah. Well,
for this reason, I think.
Yeah.
But what you are telling me, because of the titles, I always ask myself, why is an instrumental called this and not that? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's very difficult. It is very difficult to think of titles for instrumental songs.
Yeah.
And some of these titles, I mean, they you know, for example, when I'm writing music, and I always use a software program called Vision. So you have to save the song when you want to go to bed. It's time to go to sleep, and before there's another power cut and you lose it all, you need to save it to disk, and unfortunately you've got to give it a name. And sometimes I just go, you know, like December 5 if I can't think of anything, or I come up with some sort of name. It may even be just a working title. Sometimes those working titles stick. Freudian Slip, for example, was a working title and it stuck. ESP was a working title, it stuck.
And what does it mean, ESP?
ESP, extra sensory perception. So that's all it means. But often I see titles of instrumental music, and you know, some of them are a bit silly, really. Sometimes it doesn't matter. I mean, I suppose Starfish Spaghetti is pretty silly, but Ray came up with that, and Ray comes up with some very bizarre titles, and I like his bizarreness. And it's sort of stuck. It's one of those things, but it is difficult with instrumental music to get good titles. With lyrics, there's a reason. You know, the song is called something because somewhere in the song you're probably going to say that word quite a lot. You know, and I always find it interesting when you have a song. It's the title of the song is not what the chorus is, and what is sung over and over again. It's actually maybe one line in the song, and that becomes the title of the song, which I always find interesting. But without lyrics, it's a whole different ball game. You know? So I try to think of a title that really sounds like the song, or has something to do with the song, or there's something, even the way the song was created or how it first came. You know, I try to get a title that has something to do with it, even if I'm the only one that knows why.
Hello everybody, I'm Jon Hammond, here live at the Dammtor Bahnhof in Hamburg. Pretty soon you're going to see the ECE train. We're going to take a little photo, and my good friend Michael August is going to take the shot. So we'll be right back.
And I got this machine, and I took it to Germany, and with this wagon, this is how we get down the road. You just put that little bicycle clinger on there. Rock and roll, baby. We take this on the train. We take it on the buses. We push it down the street. However we gotta go, we get there, you know. And everybody that knows about the Hammond organ, it's an old instrument from the year 1934. Was the first year that Mr. Lawrence Hammond developed it. And can anybody understand me? I'm sorry, I can only speak in English, you know, so I try to speak a little bit slow. But you know, a clock or an oar, you know, this electric oar, the machine in this inside, this is how Mr. Hammond made the first Hammond organ in 1934. He took the motor and they made it spin like this, and then pressed the sound down, and he got an organ sound. So that's the principle of this. There's no synthesizer. This is a real organ. But now they make it.
live Jon Hammond und seine Band heute bei FSK im Studio auf 89,1 MHz. Absolut live mit ersten und zweiten Take und allem, was dazugehört. Und absolut funky. Und das ist auch schon die Polizei. Hallo.
Guten Tag.
Ja.
Ja.
Ja.